One of the challenges of being a leader is feeling like you have to do everything, feeling like everything is your responsibility and that you are in charge of every little thing that's happening. And sometimes that can be a really difficult thing to let go of, even though it might be the most valuable thing we could do as a leader, is to let go of some of the things that we think we're responsible for that maybe someone else could do. Today, we are going to discuss leading by letting go, why it matters, and more on this episode of today's Antidote.
Stay tuned for today's Antidote, brought to you by the Renegade Success Network. Today's Antidote features a healthy dose of thought-provoking insights and information for business owners, entrepreneurs, leaders, and nonprofit professionals. Each day since March of 2020, this program has offered that one thing to help you continue on your own unique pathway to success. And now, Renegades, we bring you Bob Graham and Tom Brush.
Hey.
Do.
Yeah, I couldn't remember it this morning. I can't hear it. There are too many waves crashing in the background.
The rough life of being at the beach.
I know. It's cold though. Like, can you see? I don't know if you can see, my glasses get fogged up because I'm trying to block the wind. It's a little windy, and it's a cold wind. It's like a damp, cold wind. It's beautiful out, but there are pockets of cold, and then it's warm, and my glasses have gotten fogged up since sunrise about 20 times. That's how different the air is from minute to minute. So,
Interesting.
first world problems, right?
Well, it's fun to have you back at the beach. I sort of do miss, what was it that you used to do? You do
running with Bob.
Running with Bob.
Thoughts while running. Thoughts
Yes.
while running.
I missed that.
I kind of miss that too. I might have to bring that back. I used to do a morning Facebook Live, I think Facebook Live, where I would just go for a run and think about stuff. And when I got done running, I'd be all sweaty, not really sweaty, and just give my musings. So.
Your musings.
My musings, yes.
Interesting.
But funny, I haven't had a lot of people really missing that. And it's been a year. You would think those that missed it would really be, clamoring for it, but not so much.
Have you asked anyone if they've missed it?
I have not asked anyone.
So how do you know? I just shared with you that I was missing your thoughtful insult.
You may very well bring it back. I did not expect that. So, how are you today, Tom?
I'm doing very well, thanks.
Good.
I'm not cool at the beach, but I'm here.
Life comes at you.
You take advantage where you can.
Amen.
All right, everyone. Good morning and welcome to today's Antidote, our daily broadcast and podcast, where each week we have a conversation around a topic. This week's topic is leading by letting go. After a number of weeks of talking about managing a team, leadership,
dependence.
Correct. Wow. Independence was a long time ago because that was around the 4th of July.
But still, it kind of set the stage for where we are today.
Yes. No doubt. Absolutely. So we'll have this conversation. Today we're going to talk about why it matters, leading by letting go. And if you have thoughts and ideas while we go through our conversation, please feel free to share them because we know that it'll add value to our conversation. So whether you happen to be watching us on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, or
LinkedIn Live, baby, bring it on. Woo!
LinkedIn Live, we welcome your thoughts and ideas. Most likely, we will add them to the show and share them with everyone else. And then at the end of our
wait, what's most likely?
Well, I want to put the caveat in there just in case some random person runs into this and writes something that's inappropriate that we're not going to put up on the screen.
I see what you're doing there.
I don't even know what I'm doing there. I'm just.
Well, you haven't said that in the past. We haven't had that problem, thankfully.
I'm not sure I've ever said that we share their. I just said that what they have to say adds value to our show.
Okay, all right, fair enough.
So then, at the end of our conversation, we will share our one thing, our today's antidote. That thing that we hope will help you maybe today or somewhere else down the road take your next step along your own unique pathway to success. And so, again, if you have one thing you'd like to share, please feel free to do it, because it might be exactly what someone else is looking for. Maybe we don't have the value that someone else needs, and you do. So don't hold back. Be sure to share your value. And before we dive into our topic, each day we do our celebrations. Bob, what are you celebrating today?
I'm celebrating the fact that I did not lose at miniature golf last night. I was playing with 3 other people. It was pretty competitive, and the person who lost was going to have to pay for ice cream for everyone. And I actually won, much to the surprise of all involved. I started off with a 6 on the first hole, so I was already 4 in the hole, and I won by 2 at the end. So
the darn windmill got you on the first hole. I told you to watch out for that.
It was not a windmill; it was something else. But yes, it was a lot of fun. But I'm not usually competitive, and I've been criticized by someone for not being as competitive as makes a game fun. So I was talking smack last night, really being competitive, and it was fun, and it was also good that I didn't lose, because acting competitive and losing would have been really bad. Plus, I don't even like ice cream. I mean, I like ice cream, but I can't eat it because I'm lactose intolerant. So winning, yeah.
I understand. Can I ask you a question?
Please, Tom, go ahead.
So we're talking about celebrations.
Yeah.
Why was your celebration that I didn't lose rather than I won at miniature golf last night?
I don't have an answer for you. I think that's probably how I was looking at it last night, though. And I think what you got was like a deep, dark look into Bob's brain. It wasn't about winning. It was about not losing.
Okay.
Maybe that's a topic for a week.
Maybe. It's a mindset thing, right?
There you go.
There's a big, because when you said you didn't lose, I was like, all right, he must have come in second. And then when you said that you won, I was like, well, why didn't he lead with I won at miniature golf last night? That's the celebration, I guess.
Yes, I agree with you. I totally agree. Yeah. And folks, just so you know, if you're not familiar with the Renegade Success Network and what Tom and I do in our spare time, we actually coach people. And what Tom just did, without even saying he was doing it, is just coaching me in the sense of, how do you look at life? What are you trying to do? And how does this show up? And notice he didn't tell me I was wrong. He didn't tell me I did something silly. He just brought up something like, hey, he observed something, and he brought to light what that was so that I could discover what was going on for me, what was real for me in the moment. And so if that's something you're wrestling with, and it doesn't have to be your miniature golf game, it can be. I'm pretty good at that now, to be honest. I've proven that. But if there's something you're wrestling with, or something that you just can't figure out, Tom and I would love to talk to you about our Renegade Success Network. All right, Tom, back to the program.
It was a good add-on. Excellent.
And it was so subtle how I worked it in, right?
So you go-kart racing or something else today that you can be competitive once more?
I don't know. I don't know what's on the agenda for today.
Got it. Fair enough.
I'm living in the moment.
Good for you.
Yes. It's a change.
Maybe. All right. So my celebration today is that I got to work out yesterday for the first time in a week. I think I shared this yesterday.
Because you were too busy, not because you were injured, right?
No, because I wasn't feeling great.
Okay. All right.
I actually had time. I just was not feeling up to it at the moment last week. And so it was good to be back in the gym after about almost a week away. And was that going to the gym being like that? Or
yes. Going to the gym would not be a celebration for me.
Okay. Well, yeah, so it was an opportunity to get it.
Shows it too.
Okay. Yeah. All right. For the guy who eats anything and never changes weight at all. Okay. Anyhow,
True story.
so that's my celebration, that I was back in the gym yesterday, and even though I mentioned how busy it had been with lacrosse, today I just get to go and blow the whistle in lacrosse for a couple hours. So, and that's much easier than having to assign other people to go do it.
Yeah. Great.
Yes, indeed. All right. So let's dive into our topic. We're talking about leading by letting go, why it matters. Would you like to kick us off, Bob?
Sure. If a leader's not willing to let go, they're going to be limited in what they can accomplish. The best goals, the best vision in the world is going to really be hard to implement if they're not willing to let go. Because letting go is really code, as I think about it right now, for having a team. Because a team is about a group of people coming together to accomplish something. Letting go is saying, I value these team members and I want them to be participants in this, and I want their role to grow as we try to achieve better things. So not letting go would be saying this team is going to stay like this. They're not going to get better. They're not going to grow. They're not going to learn things. They're not going to enrich each other. They're going to just be this. And my vision as a leader is the only vision. And that's very limited. And I think it's very powerful when you see a leader who's willing to share credit, who's willing to say, I remember one of the jobs I was at, I was on a committee, I was on a board, and this was like 15 years ago. And I was the guy who got the donuts for the board meetings. I wasn't even on the board, I just went to the meetings. And one day I was explaining something that the board needed to hear. And the person in charge said, Bob, you're the person to explain this to the board. And I said, no, that's your role. I'd seen this person do that repeatedly. And they're, no, you said it so much better. I really think you should do it. And so I got to present to the board. And from that, the board members took an interest in me. And I started to get brought into more complex things because they realized that I had talents that just being the guy who brought the donuts didn't show off. I still brought the donuts, but the board members knew my name and they started to get me involved in things. They'd say, hey, we were thinking about this thing. We should get Bob to look into it. And so the leader benefited by letting me do that because she no longer had to be the only person that the board interacted with. And I would have board members call me. I'd have them discuss things with me. And the leader was perfectly fine with that. Her only stipulation was, hey, I want to know what you're doing. I don't want you to just do what the board tells you to do. I want to be in that loop, of course. And so there was a letting go there that was really powerful to that organization because I think I brought to them things that they'd always wondered about things. And I was out doing research and talking to people and setting things up that I gave them a resource that just wasn't on their radar screen. And it's because the leader let go enough to say, you know what, you should do this presentation to them because you are much more clear about it. You're going to present it in a way that they're going to respond more favorably to. And I think that's what happens. That's the benefit. You get more people involved. Let them bring their talents to the fore, and that allows you to look at things differently.
I like that. I think that's what's interesting. One of the interesting things about that is, and what you just said at the end was how you let them bring their talents forward and give them the opportunity to do things they might not otherwise ever had a chance to do. Like, even if you weren't the one, it seemed to work out that you were the one that was going to be able to present this the most effectively. And even if that wasn't the case, the opportunity for other people to have a chance to speak in front of the board is a real leadership move to allow others to experience something they might not otherwise have done and let them grow. I think letting go allows your team to grow differently. And I think one of the biggest challenges, one of the benefits of a leader is not only seeing organizational growth, but also seeing team and individual growth as a part of the organizational growth. And if all that's happening is the organization is growing, the team and individuals aren't growing, they're not going to be likely very happy. and there's a good chance they're going to move forward, move on. And I think one of the other things is, and I think this is forgotten a lot, is, you're the leader, or you're put in a position of leadership because of some skill sets that you have. And typically, when you hold on to all those other things that your team could be doing, you're not really leveraging the things that you're really strong at. You're doing the things that you used to do in your prior role that are lower on the priority list or lower on your skill set list. And so you're not allowed to grow either. You're stuck doing some of the same things. I remember working with a organizational leader who spent a lot of their time doing the things that they had a space and doing the things that the space required, making sure signs were correct, making sure that garbage was picked up. That's not really their role. If you had no other teammates, then that would be the role, be part of the role. Once you start adding teammates, those are their roles. And those are things that are helpful to the organization, yet not as beneficial of moving the organization forward as the other roles that person was also responsible for, like community relations, fundraising, engaging with the board and managing the board, all those things that they were hired as the leader to do, that are the top priorities of the organization. And they got sucked into, because they couldn't let go of all those other things that are important, yet not really moving the organization forward.
It's a tricky situation though. Because in the example you gave, which I really like, it's very easy to be the leader that does those things, like making sure the trash gets taken out, making sure that the signs are correct, because those are easily quantifiable. When you walk out the door at the end of that day, you can say, I led, look, the trash is taken out. It's a lot harder, I think, for a leader to say, you know what, Bob is the best person to give this presentation today for a variety of reasons, and I'm going to give him that opportunity. And I'm comfortable enough in my role in this organization to give Bob that stage, literally give me that stage, and that she knew that board still would value her, still would respect her, and that my work would reflect on her in a very positive light. And that's hard to accept, because we so often think when we're leaders, we're in charge. It's got to be me. It's got to be me. It's got to be me. If not me, then who? Well, the reality is the leaders that I've enjoyed working with the most are the ones who let go the best and challenge their people by letting go of things that those people sometimes aren't fully ready to handle, but it's like you help them through it.
Well, and really, if you're doing all the tasks, which is really what that person was doing, the person that I was describing was doing tasks around the organization. If you're doing all the tasks, are you really leading?
Right. How much time do you have to lead if you're taking out the trash? Truly.
Well, and you're not helping others figure out how to grow. I mean, to me, one of the biggest parts about being a leader is those around you. It's not really about what do you accomplish. Your role is to ensure that those around you are accomplishing what they're supposed to do. And that in that, you're completing a big part of your job. I think the other piece of it is, and it sort of ties into what I said before, is that we forget those things that we have to do. And I think that usually, yes, you're giving a role because you have a skill set. And so there's probably some things in that leadership role that are still that skill set, even though you have to help manage others. I had somebody approach me at this workshop that I was at last week, and they're a new leader. And their question to me was, how much time should I allow or appropriate for leading my team? Which was a great question, because I think people don't often think about that. And so I said, well, a lot of it depends on your team. How experienced are they? What are their roles and responsibilities? what? And then the other question I asked was, what else do you have to do? And I say, if you're going to spend all your time focused on leading, and this is a good conversation to have with your supervisor if you're a leader, is, hey, I know I need to spend this time leading my team. And because they're fairly new, they're fairly inexperienced, that's a significant amount of time likely that I'm going to have to spend just to support them, not to help do the things that they're doing, to support them so they can do the things that they can do. How much then can I actually take on? And I think as a leader, we forget. We forget how hard sometimes it is and how much time it takes to truly lead and give people space. Even giving them space takes time. And, how much do we then get to allocate for what are the other things that we need to do? Because I don't know many, maybe you do, people who their only role is to lead others. Typically, they lead others and they have all the things that they're responsible for.
And I think it's important that they do have responsibilities, because that's part of what gives them credibility as a leader. If you're just coming in and pushing buttons and saying, do this, do that, and you guys meet over here and leading meetings, I'm not so sure you're really part of the team, right?
You might be managing the team.
Right, which is not leading, right? By what we kind of uncovered last week. So it makes sense that leader would have a role within that broader organization beyond just leading. Sure.
Although there have been situations where that, depending on the team, leading a team sometimes can take up a significant amount of your time.
Yes.
That I think goes unnoticed. I think that I think the challenge is that people think, oh, you've got a team, especially if it's one that's well run with experienced members. Well, you're just going to lead them, and we would expect you to do all these other things. It's like adding on one more thing to your plate. And you're like, well, my plate was pretty full before. What are we taking off of my plate so that I can lead? Even if my leadership I'm able to let go of a lot of the leadership responsibilities because the team is more experienced, effective, cohesive. And I think we often forget that sometimes that only lasts a certain amount of time before it changes. And then we don't adapt, so the minute one person leaves that team, well, now the team is not as cohesive, effective, and efficient. What are we letting go of so that we can spend more time on that leadership? Bob, as we wrap up our conversation today, what's your one thing?
My one thing is what you said earlier, which is letting go is the way to grow. I really like that. Like if I had thought of that when we were coming up with the title for the week, that would have been really fun. So I like that idea that if you're going to grow, you've got to let go of some things. I also think, as you were talking just now, it occurred to me that you can't put on your calendar, I'm going to lead from 9 o'clock to 10 o'clock this morning and then go do my work. You might have days where you are leading all day long. And you may have days where you can just look and say, wow, man, it's humming along. And knowing when that is part of the challenge and fun, to me, of being a leader.
Yes. I like that. And I would, that was kind of the line I was going to head, was there's a certain harmony that has to be there between how much you're involved with your team and how much you have the other responsibilities that you have. And I think it's that harmony and understanding, like, okay, this is a time where I need to let go of my responsibilities for a little bit because I need to focus more on the team, because there's some obstacles I have to clear out of the way. There's some support I need to provide for them. There's something that I need to do to help them move forward. And then there's the other side of it is there are times when my responsibilities are significant or maybe a priority that I need to let go some of the leadership that I might have been needing to provide, and figuring out how to do that. And when those two collide and they both become a priority, that's a challenge for a person in a leadership role, is which one do I let go of? And figuring that out can be really valuable.
And like I said earlier, that's what we help people with in the Renegade Success Network all the time. So if that's something you're going, yeah, that's the challenge I face, Tom or I would love to discuss that with you. So Tom, I think you're muted. I don't hear you.
Yeah, I'm here.
Oh, okay. I know I saw that you were coughing a little bit. Let me take a stab at closing this puppy up. If you folks have something that you came to you while you were listening to us or watching us, feel free to share that in the comments. It's valuable not just to you in writing it out. Sometimes when you write these things out, they crystallize in your brain. The words you use often make it clearer in your mind, but also for someone else. Someone else might actually read that comment and they might go, oh yeah, that's exactly what I was trying to get. Oh, that's perfect. Or I never thought about it that way. And I would tell you another benefit of that, doing that, taking that minute or two to write that comment is, someone else might read your comment and they might be so interested in what you say that they might actually reach out to you and you might actually be able to network. I know, crazy thought, networking through comments on Facebook. Who would have thought such a thing was possible? But it is in fact possible. So that's available to you. All you got to do is go to the Ring Renegades Facebook group. You can comment there. You can comment on LinkedIn. You can comment on Twitter. You can comment anywhere you like. We'd love to see your comments.
Except.
On
Sorry.
the podcast.
You can't comment on the podcast.
You can't comment on the podcast. You can yell at the person next to you and be like, listen to these buffoons. I can't believe how silly they are. That's okay. You're completely able to do that. But if you're flying down the road at 65 miles per hour, wind blowing through your hair, it's hard for that person to hear you. So instead of causing an accident, go to our Ring of Renegades Facebook group. You can search for it. It's simple as go to Facebook, find the little search bar, and type in Ring of Renegades. And presto magico, because of technology, oh, I'm so excited, there it will be. You will be asked to join. They'll ask a simple question. Why are you a renegade? It's a great question. We've had some amazingly interesting answers, really thoughtful answers, and sometimes persons just like, I know I am. Whatever you choose is great. We'll let you in the group and bang, bing, bomb, boom. 1,100, almost 1,200 people will suddenly be part of your network, all committed to being the renegade that they can be as they achieve their own unique pathway toward success.
Fascinating. So we look forward to seeing you inside our Ring of Renegades Facebook group, or we'll see you tomorrow morning, 7 a.m. Eastern time for our next episode of Today's Antidote. Have a great day, everyone.
Embrace the renegading you. It's worth it on this beautiful, beautiful Tuesday.
Yes. Go out and enjoy your day. We'll see you soon. Thanks for listening to Today's Antidote, powered by the Renegade Success Network. The Renegade Success Network helps you confidently create your own unique pathway to success. To learn more about the Renegade Success Network and how you can take your next step, follow us on Twitter, connect on LinkedIn, or join the Ring of Renegades Facebook group. For full details on how you can join our community, go to renegadesuccessnetwork.com. Embrace the renegade in you.